sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
The New York Times has A.O. Scott.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Rolling Stone has Peter Travers.
Your clothes, give them to me.
And we have these guys. Eric Drost.
Everything's under control. Situation normal.
Rob McDonald.
Like a miniature Buddha covered in hair.
And Adam Kinech.
My God, it's full of stars.
There are no critics, just a few guys who love movies. This is The Fresh Take.
You think you can't make mistakes? But the choices you make could get yourself and everyone under your command killed. But I believe in you, Jim.
Darkness is coming. You can't even guarantee the safety of your own crew. Now, shall we begin?
I'm sorry.
That right there is Star Trek Into Darkness. How's it going, everybody? It is The Fresh Take.
Fresh Take.
It's Eric Drost, Adam Kinech,
intro?
and Rob McDonald. You're just going to speak over the intro.
Yeah, well,
that's
it was a really weird
thing.
way to say take. It was Fresh Take.
The new thing here on The Fresh Take is speaking over the intro.
Yeah.
Is what
I'm
we're
Adam
gonna be
Kinech.
doing.
That's Rob McDonald. I'm sitting here with Eric Drost. See? It's
There
not
you
that hard.
go.
Yeah.
There you
Boom.
go. Everyone knows this already. It's okay. Star Trek Into Darkness is directed, of course, by J.J. Abrams. And is got a full crew. The full crew is back.
Yeah, I know. It's
Pine,
awesome.
Zachary Quinto, everybody, and Benedict Cumberbatch.
So Benedict Cumberbatch the third.
Yeah,
Alice Eve as well, right? Yeah.
yeah. Well, you sure? Yeah, she's quite low on the list here, but yeah, Carl Urban, Simon Pegg, John Cho, Zoe Saldana.
Yeah,
everyone
all the usual
yep.
suspects. Yeah.
And this is really what it is a coming of age tale for Kirk. This movie, it's really him trying to learn how to be captain. That's what this one's about.
A proper captain.
Yeah.
A proper captain, yeah. So I thought the movie was really good. Actually, I enjoyed it a lot.
I cannot explain how much ass this movie kicked for me. Like a lot of ass is what we'll go with. This is my favorite movie of the year so far, like hands down. This has been my favorite movie. Iron Man 3 was great, but this movie for me just there's so much going on in here that I just loved so much. Main thing being Benedict Cumberbatch as the villain.
Yeah.
He absolutely steals every single scene he's in. He could be talking to a wall. He could be talking to a rock, and I'd still just be totally intrigued about what he's saying.
It's that demeanor, just like
that cool, calm, like demeanor. That's what I wanted to see from the Mandarin. That's what I want. Like this is the character that, not Trevor, but this is the kind of villain that I love. That you always think he's in control. You always seem like he's one step ahead or two steps ahead of the protagonists.
Yeah, and even two steps ahead in terms of thinking that maybe he's not actually a villain.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like,
Spoiler alert.
There's a lot of things in this movie, and obviously we don't want to go spoilers. But yeah, what do you guys?
Well, I think that the main reason why I love this movie and why it is just so much better than Iron Man 3 is the villain. The villain in this movie is the number one reason why I think this movie, why I would put this movie where I would, and that's really high up so far. And it's going to be tough to beat this movie for me this year because of the villain. The villain is it's the perfect mixture of Kirk and Spock, and in that sense, this villain has the emotion of Kirk, and it has the intelligence, and it has the calm demeanor of Spock. It's an intelligent, and by the way, this is exactly, and you mentioned it, but this is exactly what Iron Man 3 was missing. Exactly the exact thing that Iron Man 3 was missing, and not even that. I think most movies of this nature are missing is this type of character. I was talking to some people after the movie, and I would compare this villain to The James Bond villain. Because,
okay.
and the reason for that is because Javier Bardem's character, because this movie is the copy of the good guys on the bad guy side. If Kirk and Spock could be melted together and turn evil, then that's what they would be. They would have emotion of Kirk. They would have that kind of like gung-ho thing of wanting to do things all the time, kind of wanting to use your gut emotion, but also have the intelligence of Spock
and the logic
and so this is like a melting of Kirk and Spock turned evil. And I think that that's absolutely fantastic because you are directly going up against, you're making a mirror image of the good guys and you're putting it up against them. So now it's kind of like they're battling themselves, and it's like, and that confuses you, right? Like, what do I do? This guy is doing all the right things type of thing, right? Yeah. And it blew me away. It blew me away. The character just blew me away.
No, yeah, and that's exactly what this character is. I mean, like it's well known that one of the most prolific Star Trek movies for the Star Trek universe is the second one, and that's Wrath of Khan.
Yeah,
and it's just a perfect mixture of that because that's what that character is as well. Like, we don't want to get too much into the spoilers, but again, this character, like how you're saying, how he's a good mixture of it. And that's what the villains are, right? That's what the Joker is. I thought that's what you were going to say for a second.
I was thinking, is he going to say
the Joker?
That could also be a comparison to the Joker because he's everything that Batman would be if Batman was evil. He's and that's what this guy. While
at the same time as being his equal.
And not really. He doesn't fight as well as him. He doesn't.
And
this
his
guy mindset maybe. Yeah.
But this villain kicks so much ass. Like, yeah. That's another thing I liked about this guy is like Kirk could never just go toe to toe with these guys. Kirk could never just fight this guy one on one. He could not just go toe to toe with his villain because he'd just kick his ass. He kills so many Klingons.
Well, yeah. Kirk is human.
Kirk is,
there's obviously he's not gonna be able to take on this guy. But
and that's what I always love about like this the Captain Kirk character, the Star Trek character is like you don't just have that one-on-one like you get to the like rough and tough battles. It's like we have to outsmart him, we have to outwit him.
No, this is a battle of wits. It's a battle of emotions. It's a battle of what would you do in this scenario. It's Kirk is constantly put into a testing phase. It's always a test for Kirk, and it's like, what's he going to do? Is he a good captain? Will he know what to do? And that's the other thing I loved about this movie was Kirk. I absolutely love Chris Pine as Kirk and where he's taken this character and how it's been written for him. I mean, it's amazing, and that's the other thing about this movie that we should touch on. The writing is phenomenal because these characters, as well as they're acted, as well as a good job these actors do with these characters, the writing is fantastic. These reboots of these Star Trek movies are written well. They're written well, and that's the conception of the storyline, and then you get characters and actors that can play these characters, and I mean Zachary Quinto does a great job. He does a great job as Spock. Chris Pine does a great job as Kirk. That raw emotion from him, that kind of gut feeling. Okay, I'm put in a test and I don't know the manual. I haven't read the book. He's that kid in school that is popular and that never does his homework, but always somehow based on a gut feeling, just knows what to do. He just knows what to do. You know what I mean? And I love those types of characters where they just kind of act on feeling. And all I know is that I want my crew to survive, and whatever my gut tells me to do, screw the manual, and I'm going to go and just do what I feel is right. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's an amazing, and Spock is the perfect contrast to that, right? Where he's always reminding him, hey, this is what you should be doing, this is what you should be doing, this is what you should be doing. And he's just like,
but at the same time,
I have no clue what I'm going to do, but I know that I need to save these people, so I'm just going to do this.
At the same time, Spock is also has that turmoil within himself where he's like, I don't want to show emotion, but like he still gets emotional. And he does his best, and there's a point in here that's a real tearjerker moment when you can see he's like I can't.
There's a couple
withhold my, and there's a couple really good moments that even some of them are really subtle. And with
like when they're going down to the Klingon planet, that's another one that was like literally where you started feeling for the Zachary.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, to that point, I guess before that, perhaps you couldn't.
Yeah, and
because of how robotic he is.
I really like how they show how everyone's getting so annoyed with Spock throughout the movie. Like everyone's just like, "Oh my god, man!"
Yeah.
Like, and that's just
what are you doing?
it's just something these movies do really well. Is they really show the good character dynamics between all the different people. And another thing I really like is how they didn't just make like Captain Kirk the only hero in this. They don't just make it's Captain Kirk and then featuring the rest of his crew. It's everyone in that crew has an integral role in this movie, and everyone has their moment to just shine. Even Sulu has that great moment where he's like has to take over the captain's chair because Kirk and Spock are both away off on a mission, and Sulu has this great moment where he's like shows how much of a badass he is at one point, and then all these different characters have a shining moment where it's not just Kirk saving the day all the time. Kirk, he gets in a lot of trouble a lot of this movie, and it's up to his crew to bail him out.
No, but that's what it's still about, though. To me, like I agree. I agree I agree with what you're saying. There's a lot of good moments for all the characters, but to me, it's those two main reasons why this movie succeeded, other than the effects. The two main reasons why this movie did so well in my books is the brilliant evil nemesis guy, the brilliant foe.
Yep.
Okay, is just a great villain, and Kirk's emotions in this movie are the two main reasons why this succeeded. This is, as I said, a coming-of-age tale. Does he have what it takes to be a captain?
Yeah.
That's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. And it's the simple, fundamental storylines, when done well, they work. They work. You keep it simple, okay? And he shows emotion. Kirk, in these reboots, is this cocky guy. He's a great He's a great guy in the Starfleet. He's this up-and-coming star, this rising cocky star that is faced with his match and that has to show emotion. And he turns around. It's in the trailers. He turns around at one point in the movie and says, "I'm sorry." Because literally at that point, they were all going to die. At that point, he had nothing else. He played it so well. He reached down to the bottom of his pit, and you could tell like the way he acted that scene, where his eyes were like scanning, like, okay, what am I going to do now? Which way am I going to get the Enterprise out of this mess?
Yep.
And he had nothing. And he turned around to the crew and he said, "I'm sorry." No, but that's the thing. Like, it wasn't in this like joking manner. It was just like, that was a tearjerker for me, because that was Kirk going,
"I'm out.
I fucked up. I have nothing else. We're all dead." And that is the coming of age tale. This is why I fucking love movies. This is why I love good movies. Right there. That scene in there was like, I wish Iron Man had that. And it had the potential for it with all the shit he was going through in his mind because of it had the potential to do that. And that's why I love movies. That's why I love Batman. The Dark Knight, because it has those moments where it's like, you just know it's either he gets out of this or he's fucked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I love about this movie. I am fucking fired up now.
Yeah. So, all right, we're gonna. Let's just.
I'm out of here. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Eric had his moment. All right, everybody. Eric's left the building.
Oh, and that's just it. I'm glad that you mentioned that too, because that's what this story kind of is. It's this big big piece, big puzzle that you're just putting together as this whole thing's coming up. And that's what this script is, where you don't know exactly what's going on a lot of the times.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you're just putting it together as the movie comes along.
The trailers is definitely my favorite trailer of the year too. Like the
movie.
It got me so excited. But honestly, like the trailer oversimplifies the movie.
We just watched the trailer now, and we still giving you goosebumps.
Gives me goosebumps. But honestly, the trailer, as great as it still oversimplifies the story, because this story has a lot of layers. There's a lot of intricacies.
2 minutes and 22 seconds of trailer is going to oversimplify the story.
No,
absolutely,
but,
right?
But like going in there, I think we all personally, I expected, and I'm sure a lot of other people thought the same thing, where it's going to be, all right, this bad guy, Benedict Cumberbatch, he fucks with Starfleet, and then it's Kirk goes after him on a vendetta.
Yeah,
but honestly, like,
it was so much more.
It's so much more. Like,
deeper,
there's so many other elements to this. There's so much character development, and it's so cool to see all this, like what they've done with this story. And this is one of the points I wanted to bring up. With I'm not a Star Trek guy. I was never like one of those guys who I'm not even close to a Trekkie.
Yeah,
I've watched some. I've never watched the shows. I never watched the old Star Trek shows or the Next Generation shows. I've watched some of the movies, but I think maybe some of the Star Trek fans will kind of be upset at what this movie does with a lot of these characters.
Of course they will.
And it's because, you know...
because Zachary Quinto is not Leonard Nimoy, and Chris Pine is not William Shatner. It's not even that.
Like, some of
it is a lot of that, too, right? I've already been reading stuff. Quinto sucks at Spock, Nimoy is Spock. It's like, man, get over it. Time moves on.
Yeah, like,
you know what I mean?
You can't have Nemo as Spock anymore.
That's a small percentage of them, because to many people, I believe Zachary Quinto is... They love Zachary Quinto as the
Spock. Old Trekkies, the ones that are 60 now. No, seriously, the ones that grew up watching Star Trek.
Of course,
probably not. No, right? Sure, us, our age category, 20 to 30s. Yeah, we probably love Zachary Quinto.
Sheldon loves Zachary Quinto.
Sheldon does as well. Yeah, and that's a big. That's a big thing. There's a couple of other things that I loved about this movie, other than the great storyline that I thought it had. It was that, we could talk about the effects and how great they were, and they really were. They were awesome. Like, there were scenes in this movie where I thought, man, that is so cool. That is so cool. Like, those are the only words that come to my head. That is so cool, right there, right? Because like the opening scene. Like the opening sequence when they're on that other planet and
native planet,
the native planet with a race of people that have barely invented the wheel, and all of a sudden they see the stars. When the Enterprise came out of the water, like that scene there, I was like, oh my God, this is it, and my entire skin turned to goosebumps, and I was like, this is fucking amazing right now, right?
Yep.
That's the one thing. Like the effects were on, but the other thing is the rightly placed humor. There is rightly placed humor.
This is probably the funniest Star Trek movie there's been.
This isn't. I just
the first one was close as well, but this
one
series
was more rightly placed humor.
Yeah. For sure.
That's what I'm saying. It's rightly placed humor. Yeah. It's not. And I'm sorry I keep going back to Iron Man, but this is another reason why I didn't like the Iron Man movie, is that they don't just save the world and the next thing is just a joke right out of Tony Stark's mouth. This is rightly placed humor. This is like Scotty. I mean, the guy's hilarious, right? He's on the other ship, and he's that scene where they're diving head first for the other ship and trying to get that was funny. Like, to me, that was funny when he was dealing. I mean, it was cheesy in some points as well, but it was even for the most part, it was really
even
funny.
Chekhov just trying to
I swear to God, I want that guy's role in that movie, because literally they must have filmed his sequences in one day. He is running. Here's Chekhov's scenes in the movie. Running back and forth across the camera, running back and forth with smoke in the background, saying, "Yes, Captain, it broken."
And then you don't see him for 45 minutes.
Yes, I can probably fix it. I don't know if I can fix it.
And then the next time Kirk goes back to him, he's still there running around. I can fix it, Captain. And it was hilarious.
There's too many movement. I cannot beam.
Yeah.
But no, and another thing, I like how it does these classic science or sci-fi space moments where they have this sequence of probably about half an hour where just every fucking thing that can go wrong goes wrong. Like, it's equipment breaks, glasses shattering, people are panicking, Spock and Kirk are yelling at people. Yeah. Every the tracer things are going wrong, equipment, just everything that could possibly happen is happening. And I love those moments where you're just like, I cannot see any possible way this can go right for them at this point. It all kind of started when that ship appears that you see in the trailer that ship that kind of looks at the Enterprise.
Ship. Yeah. The big, the other Starfleet ship. Yeah.
You're just like, oh,
the secret one.
Man.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, just after that point, for about half an hour, just Spock, Kirk and Spock,
and that's during the time when I had my spiel there about Kirk saying, "I'm sorry." That was during that
exactly,
was,
and that's because
that sequence.
At that point,
everything had gone wrong for them.
Everything
right?
is just people getting their arms stuck in torpedoes.
Yeah,
they cannot catch a break.
McCoy's hilarious. He's so serious. Bones. Yeah, he's so serious and so and
he's just so skeptical of every decision that's ever been made in that ship. He's just like, we're doing this. That's ridiculous.
He's the party pooper. You know what I mean? He'll just poop on anything that anyone says, right?
Not like any idea that's brought up.
Hey, Bones, how about this? He just poops on it.
But he still does it because he's Kirk's best friend.
Yeah,
he's just like, you know what? I'll do it because I support you, but you're fucking retarded.
Yeah.
or even those random sentences they just had comparing stuff to something. It's like, it's like this. It's
like
this.
And Kirk even makes
enough with the metaphors.
He's like, what the hell are you doing?
What
the hell are you talking about?
Enough with the metaphors.
And then enough with the metaphors. And then still the classic line, "Damn it, Jim, I'm not an engineer." I think he said.
I'm a doctor.
I'm a doctor, not a torpedo specialist.
Yeah. Torpedo specialist. There we go.
But it's just an all around just fantastic movie that it's one of those movies where you don't notice the time at all.
No,
like,
it flew by.
It's over, and you're just like, wow.
And it was a 2-hour movie, right?
And it's perfectly.
It was over that, I think. I think it was
It's
longer.
2 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're going to do a third.
They are.
Star Trek. Like
Yeah.
I'm sure.
It's just the studio's probably like, please, JJ, do both.
Yeah,
do
like,
Star Wars
yeah,
too.
it's like and it's left a lot of options. It's left a lot of options open. It's going to be interesting to see where they go with it because
it seems like they almost pulled everything out already. With this movie.
They launched everything.
Like, what could they do with?
Well, they did what I'm thinking. I hope this isn't too much of a spoiler, but like they introduced the Klingons. They didn't do much.
You're
with the
hoping
Klingons,
there would be like a war, some kind of like that.
Honestly, I wasn't hoping for war because like I don't think they have enough space to put an entire war.
No,
into
not in this
movie.
movie. In the next
movie. In the next movie, expand on the Klingons because the Klingons are a massive part of the Star Trek universe, and they haven't. They've only just introduced them in this movie.
And they definitely set up for that.
They definitely
the war is set.
Massive,
like the war is
conflict.
set, right? And they kept talking about the war.
Tensions,
the tensions
are
and
growing,
whatever.
and it's
So it'll be interesting to see what they do. It'll definitely be interesting from that perspective. But I think that this movie had it all, and
it's going to be difficult to find a villain as badass as Benedict Cumberbatch.
It's difficult, and while you guys were talking, I'm trying to find something negative to say about it.
The only negative thing I can think of is that when it ended, and this could just be like something why they're continuing it, is it ended and it just kind of like I expected there to be more of a wrap up than there was in this movie, and they just after the climax, after like that final like it's hard to say this without just giving shit away because I'm not going to try not to, but after the final climax, it wraps up so quickly, and maybe it's just because I didn't want it to end, or I wanted to see more of these characters, more of these interactions. But when it's over, I'm just like, damn.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I saw more of the resolution of the villain of Benedict Cumberbatch's character.
I think that you just didn't want it to end because I kind of felt like that way as well. But I think that is because I was sad the movie was ending.
Yeah.
The negative part for me, if there is anything, is that as good as the writing was, and as good as well as everyone acted their parts, there were a few moments in the movie where I thought
the story wasn't completely clean,
right? And there was a few moments where the dialogue did get cheesy. There was a few cheesy moments, and majority of them are when they try to be funny. When it's when you try to bring the comedy in, and again, that's a huge pet peeve of mine. I can't stand when there's comedy that ends up being cheesy and all of a sudden it gets serious again. Like there were that's the only negative I can think of. I can't think of anything else where I kind of went,
it's
come
hard.
on, you know?
Yeah, this is one of those movies where like, yeah, you can nitpick on certain things, but
that's if you have to search 20 minutes into a conversation about what you're gonna, I'm
gonna steal something from someone said online, but like a movie's amazing when you're sitting there being like, they're gonna have to really do something crazy to fuck this up. Like, and that there was that moment for me where I'm just watching this movie. I'm just like,
okay, what's going to happen that's going to just derail this?
Like, they'd have to do something so terrible or so stupid to make this movie to make this movie a bad movie.
Yeah,
and that in an awkward comedy or something, I was afraid that they were going to do at one point of the movie. But there's a point where Kirk and the villain are together, and they're going through. You see it in some of the commercial spots too, where there's just two characters and they're flying in suits, like that.
Yeah.
When those two characters are just together, I was afraid that they were going to do some inappropriate comedy or bad stuff. They didn't really do anything.
It stayed serious for the most part.
They kept comedy away from that villain.
Yeah,
which was the good thing.
They
kept comedy away from it.
You can't praise this villain enough.
Yeah.
The acting and how they designed this character, how they made this character such a badass. Like
it's the acting.
The scene when
the acting.
And it's the acting, and also just and how the character was written. How
and he was huge. Did you guys see how big that guy is?
You don't realize.
Like, I don't know how big he is. Like physically big. He's just a big guy.
The way they shot him, the way they angle him, they make him just look like he's not only intellectually superior, but he's physically superior to everyone else
in
on screen.
every way. And he's just superior in every way. I think that's what they're trying to get at, because like when they had him locked up in that cell, and you had Spock and Kirk standing there on the other side of the glass, and they were looking at him, and he was standing there just like in his black thing. It looked like he
physically intimidating.
Physically intimidating. Like it looked like he was like you know the old Justice League show. where like
Cartoon,
the way they had drawn them, where and
Just
then all
huge
shoulders, and like their forearms came out to like here and stuff. That's how he looked like standing there, like he was just this like supreme being, right?
It was
standing there.
Literally, they were fitting him. It's like no, tighter suit.
Yeah,
tighter,
yeah.
get tighter.
I love the scene. I just want one more great moment for me was when Kirk. Like Kirk meets this guy, and Kirk just starts punching the shit out of him, kicking him, like kneeing him, punching.
Yeah.
And Kirk's getting physically exhausted just from punching him so much.
He's just
and the villain's just standing there like
are you
he's
done?
just taking punches, and he's just not even getting affected at all. And Kirk literally gets exhausted from punching him too much.
Yeah. You see afterwards that he had a
and
little...
he doesn't retaliate. That's so badass.
He wins a fight by doing
he's 6 feet.
Yeah.
He's actually not that big. He's 6 feet.
Yeah, they shot him in a way that just makes him look huge.
They did the Tom Hardy approach, where Tom Hardy's actually smaller than Christian Bale in the movie, but he's at least the same height.
Yeah,
That's what he looks.
And it's just a more physical presence.
You can do tricks with the
camera.
And
he just looks like
he
just looks in much more of a physical presence than Kirk does. Like at one point, they set phasers to stun kind of thing, and like you hit a guy, he gets stunned.
They had to stun him so many times.
They hit him like 7 times. He's just like taking them all to the chest, to the head. He's like whatever.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Go see Into Darkness. You have something else?
Well, yeah. Just final question: what was better, this or the first one?
I think I'm a sucker for introductory movies because you're introduced to a world. But here's the thing. I think that I actually enjoyed this movie more than the first one. I think the first one had a bit better storyline in terms of it had kind of less holes in it to me than this one did.
That's almost what you get when you do like such a big movie. I mean, you kind of Dark Knight Rises, it has so many holes. This one, it's actually a cleaner script than Dark Knight Rises, but you kind of expect it when the movie's so big.
I got to say that I think overall, like for storyline, I think I like the first one better, but for overall experience watching this movie, I think I like this one better than the first one. And I'm afraid that this is the Terminator 2, and the third one is just not going to...
A T3 kind of movie?
It's going to be a T3 type of movie where they're just going to make it for the sake of making it, and it's going to...
Comedy.
And this is the T2 in the series for me, and I think that's what it's going to end up being.
No, I when I look at a movie, I look at it purely on enjoyment factor. Like we go into more of the factors, but like as far as enjoyment factor goes, this movie is better for me just because when I watched the first one's great. This series has been absolutely fantastic. It's brought new life to Star Trek. It's brought so many new fans to the Star Trek series as well. I was never a Star Trek fan before I watched these movies, and now it makes me want to be like, wow. It makes me excited to see more.
And almost go back and watch some of the old stuff to see what the big deal was.
But at the same time, I just know it's not going to be as good for me.
Well, it's completely different. That's
it's totally different.
And the thing is, it's different. Yeah,
exactly.
It's not that it's worse. It's different.
I've seen the old movies, and
no, but not even the movies, like the shows. I watched the old shows, and I still enjoy the old shows.
Well, there's one part where I just know it because I've seen the clip so many times. They mentioned the Gorn, which is the big lizard suit where he's fighting William Shatner with. I'm like, I want to see the Gorn. They mention it.
But no, I think overall I did enjoy this movie more than the first one.
Yeah, I think I might edge out Star Trek 1, honestly, a little bit, just because of the undertaking, the big changes they made to this. Because that's what introduced it. That's what Eric was saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I love this movie quite a bit, but I have to respect about what they were able to do with the first one.
The huge change,
The huge change and just the undertaking that they took. Like that J.J. Abrams said, I'm going to do all this stuff, and he literally could have just messed it up for everybody.
This makes me so excited for the new Star Wars, too, because I'm just like, just bring this.
It's not going to be as good, but it's not going to be.
Is he going to change a lot, too?
Well, that's the thing. Like, it gives me hope.
It's a different universe, though. See, this thing, because I right away on my drive home from the movie, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, Star Trek is a different animal. It's a different beast. It's quite frankly a better storyline, and I don't know. Like, to me, Star Trek, if I can say this, okay, this is going to sound really weird. To me, Star Trek is for adults. Star Wars is for younger people. That's the way I look at the two. When I differentiate the two, to me, it's like, okay, going out into the space on an explorer mission. The Enterprise is an exploring scouting ship that goes and explores the depths of the unknown universe. That can be real. The human race could get there someday. Star Wars has lightsabers and Wookiees, right? It's a little more childish to me than Star Trek is, right? I love it, but it's a little more childish.
It's an unfortunate thing because that definitely brought down Star Wars lower. Perhaps it was meant for a little bit older of an audience with the original trilogy.
Yeah. Well, exactly. But the new ones
just
definitely.
brought it
The
down.
prequels are the
5 years
The
old.
biggest problem with the prequels is it has a storyline that's meant for adults, but images and dialogue that's meant for kids. And when
Toys.
Jar Jar Binks.
I do not want to get into Star Wars prequels.
I was going to say, let's not get into Star Wars right now because that's a different show.
J.J. Abrams he
has the right, but I still think he'll have a mandate to make Star Wars and not Star Trek.
Of course, but
and that's going to be. I'm telling you right now, mark it 12:02. Well, I'm not going to tell you what day we're doing this. But mark my words, man. It's not going to be this. It's not going to be this. It's not going to have. I don't even think it's going to have remnants of this. I think it's just going to be a different.
It's not going to. It's going to be a different movie. It has to be a different movie. But I'm saying that J.J. Abrams has the potential to be a director that not just is an outstanding visual director, an outstanding actors director, but an outstanding storyteller as well.
Yeah, but that's not him. The story is written for him, and I think that my opinion is that there's going to be a mandate on it. I don't think it's going to be his choice.
That's the question,
thing, right?
It seems like with the Star Trek, you normally have shackles with the trilogy. You can't do this stuff. You can't do this stuff. The shackles were off.
Yeah, they said do it. Yeah,
JJ could do whatever he wanted, but he might have shackles.
Yeah, this is Star Wars. This is purely let's make money. Yeah, this is purely let's make money and Jedi. That's all I got.
Yeah, George just might be like, listen, I know I'm just consulting here, but you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this.
Okay, all right.
And you have to have Jar Jar.
Okay, all right, yeah, and then that'll be the end of Adam's life.
And if I even see a rabbit ear in that movie of Jar Jar Binks, I will kill myself. Like
I know.
I will kill myself.
You heard it here.
And I will take J.J. Abrams with me.
90-year-old Jar Jar. You don't want to see him with a cane?
No? Yeah,
all right.
I will go suicide bomb the shit out of that.
We have to wrap up, guys. Shut up. We have to wrap up.
Poor Man of Steel, though. It's gonna have to live up to this.
I think it will. That's just me. Though.
Well, yeah.
No, this has been my favorite movie of the summer. I mean, of the year. So. The bar has been set.
I know, but I'm just saying. I think this is. We'll get there.
I think it could get there too. Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's the end of that. Make sure you're following us on Twitter, by the way, at Fresh Take Show, on Facebook, The Fresh Take, and the website is thefreshtake.ca. Thanks very much for giving us a listen. We will be back next week. See you later.
Bye.
No ship should go down without her captain.
I believe in you, Jim.
That was our take. Now give us yours. Like The Fresh Take on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Fresh Take Show.